Welcome to this next episode of YouTube, and I hope everyone's preparing for a great weekend. Warmer weather definitely gets things stimulated, and that's what we're seeing here with Luna and Bolts doing their typical pump, jaw sparring, wrestling. Again, Luna's on top, which is fairly typical these days. But one thing that we are very happy about is as the weather's warmed, we're seeing less and less of her favoring her back leg, which makes us believe that that plate may have something to do with cold temperatures, or it could just be joint related with cold temperatures. We are seeing a little undercoat coming out of Luna, and that early whelping period might lead to early shedding, but typically our wolves don't shed till May or June, so not certain what that's about, although it could very well be from interactions with other wolves. And we see her kind of starting something with Denali, and he kind of does a scruff bite to her, but Aiden's right there to make sure that Denali doesn't get too much status, and so Luna may start something and Aiden may finish it. But here's, Luna's not all that confident when Denali comes chasing after her. She has a tucked tail and a little bit of a intimidated body posture, but Aiden's right behind her, so that makes her confident. I've been watching these little bouts with Denali. It is reminding me of Grizzer at this time in his life when the pups, and that would have been Aiden and Denali, his 2008 pups, reached a year of age. Grizzer didn't have a lot of respect from the pups, and part of that's because he didn't really show them any discipline, and that's kind of how Denali's been. So, a little reminiscent. The only thing that concerns me here is Aiden does a drag and a head shake, which tells me that's a little bit more intense from Aiden's perspective. But what we can do in circumstances like this, like I said, we'll keep an eye on things and then make sure there's plenty of distractions, and those distractions can be deer hides, or they can be a feeding that we hadn't planned for, just something to kind of take the focus off. And so we've been doing that, a couple of feedings during the weekend, plus we're a little low on roadkill, so we've been feeding smaller amounts more frequently. And here's Aiden and Bolts showing some really good compatibility over a small beaver, and they're having no issues whatsoever. Bolts' confidence is definitely dependent a lot upon Aiden, and where's Aiden's presence. Certainly Aiden makes a difference for him, but I see really good compatibility with these two. Bolts is comfortable, he's not intimidated, and of course that's Aiden's leadership. Aiden's not threatening, he's not all that possessive. As a matter of fact, most of the time he backs off when the pups are near food, but in this case they're very compatible as they're feeding together, and no real issues. So we're actually, this is probably a new thing for Bolts. I've not seen this from him in recent feedings. But the other thing that we discovered, which typically Bolts is submissive to Luna, is in this particular case, and again we fed 4 beavers, so there's enough for everybody, but in this particular case Bolts is a little bit more guarding with Luna, and that's something that we hadn't seen before. Bolts just usually let her have everything, so maybe Bolts is getting the confidence that he needs to be in that male rank order. And again, he still is socially dynamic with Luna. Those two sleep together, they wrestle together, they get along just fine, but this is Bolts finally telling Luna, nope, this is mine. And so what ends up happening is after you do give the distractions and things kind of calm down, the relaxation returns, and this is Aiden, who never was too intense, other than the head shake. I think Aiden just kind of keeps Denali under control, because if he doesn't, Denali's going to take over. So real relaxed, and obviously that's Grizzer's life too. We often wish we could get different footage of him doing something other than the Grizzer 500 and getting a massage, but unfortunately that's Grizzer's life, or fortunately that's Grizzer's life. He loves it. This is something that staff may do on a daily basis, and he's got a little bit of a spring fever. On Thursday he was a little bit rambunctious with staff, but for the most part relaxation and observing is what Grizzer does, and definitely observing Oscar and having those interactions. He also watches Malik here, and somebody did report that Malik chased a raven and had a little bit of a twist on the ankle, and it was a short-term sprain, and we can't even really call it a sprain. I mean, it was just he probably landed wrong in his foot and limped a little bit through the evening, but was able to overcome it pretty well. And again, Shadow is one of those wolves who we're constantly monitoring. He has his good days and he has his bad days, and what tells me that he's not having a good day is this is Shadow on the right. Malik walked past him, put his tail up in what we call a T2, a straight back tail, and then Shadow leaves. And that told me that there was something going on. And then, of course, the chin rest. And Oscar is barking in the background there, and he's picking up on it. So with Shadow, if he's just having a bad day, Malik turns around and takes advantage of it pretty quickly. But it doesn't take long for Shadow to just go ahead and, you know, face off. And you can see by Shadow's ears prick forward, Shadow's upright, and going to do a chin rest and do the invite chase that, you know, he's not feeling too bad about it. So it could very well have been food related. By the fact that we've been feeding them multiple times a day, that means Malik's getting, multiple times a week, Malik is getting a fair amount of resources. And so we're seeing Malik as being that confident wolf who can defend food, because food is independent of rank order. We do see Malik gain a little bit of status when he does have the opportunity to guard more food. So the other thing I've been doing is I've been kind of watching and waiting, and as you saw last week's YouTube, I've been actually guarding some things for Shadow, and that's been helping out a bit. The thing I could do about it is just the nature of Shadow, and again, their rank order and feeding order are different behavioral patterns, so it doesn't mean Shadow's lower ranking, it just means that Malik takes advantage of it. So we also have a clip here of Shadow howling, so I'll switch to that clip and you can listen to that. And we finish off this week's YouTube with Oscar. As snow is melting in the yard and we have lots of snow, there's things coming out of the snow, and bones and cow hooves and who knows what he's chewing on. But he's finding a lot of things to interact with and to stimulate him to be active in the wolf yard, which obviously gives Grizzer something to focus on, and he and Grizzer oftentimes through the fence. Oscar will bring him an old bone that he found. He doesn't give it to Grizzer because there's a hardware cloth preventing it, but there are some days when Oscar finds something that he brings over towards Grizzer. But the snow is deep here, and this is actually facing the exhibit pack. Those are 4-foot high panels adjacent to the exhibit pack, and as you can see by the snow, Oscar's right up in that level. So that's always the challenge in the wolf yard. We have a lot of snow, we have a lot of gates, so we have a lot of piles to move those snow so we can get at the gates, and that means we've got a very, very long season of snow melt. This will take a while to get rid of. Oscar likes it though. Like I say, he gets a high vantage point. He's going to demonstrate some of the similar canid behaviors that the wolves demonstrate. He's going to do a snow plow. He's eating some snow. He's burying things, caching things, bringing caches out of the snow. And Oscar's a canid, so he has those instincts as well as the wolves. And it really is a good stimulus. Like I say, for Grizzer, we always worry about him being alone, and you know, there's trade-offs. Being alone, he gets all the massages, but being alone, he doesn't have a social companion, so that's Oscar's job. It's through the fence, but he definitely is very stimulating, and Grizzer spends many hours watching Oscar and his antics. And here's Oscar jumping down, doing a little defense to Denali, and he's going to take his bone and leave. So, and Denali is really wondering how he can get that bone, but so that's it for YouTube. And again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.